This video ranks every attack strategy from worst to best regardless of your town hall level to help you 3-star more. Let's start with the F tier. These are armies that really aren't worth using, starting with the Pekka Smash. The Pekka Smash is honestly one of those attacks that works better at lower levels, but then gets completely outclassed later on due to the high amount of DPS buildings that can hit multiple targets. Also within the F tier is the DragBat. Now, as for DragBat, the main issue that I have is the fact that dragons do not work too well with bats. If there is one single red air bomb that gets lured from a dragon, your bats are completely toast. So just be really careful if you're running this attack with dragons. Next is the C tier. These are relatively niche attacks that can work on certain bases, but not well on most, starting with the Queen Charge Hogs. The reason this is within C tier is mostly because it has less favorable bases if there are areas in the base that have a lot of DPS, a lot of giant bombs, or even a lot of spring traps in a given area. However, it's still a solid attack if you can find the right base for it. Also within the C tier is the Recall Super Dragons. The Super Dragons are also a very strong option. Pairing this with the recall spell is really strong, being able to funnel 2 different sides and having the super dragons to go right through. However, this really only has a lot of success against box type designs. Also within the C tier is the Icy 5. The Icy 5 is a very strong and very flexible option. However, the main issue is that it's a witch and bat spell attack, which means this is going to be specific to single inferno bases only. For the most part, this doesn't have any major weaknesses like the DragBat. Since this is a ground army, you only have to worry about the tornado trap. Next up is the B tier. These are good armies that have more bases that you can hit with them, starting with the Zap Titans. This army used to be one of the best, but now as more attack strategies have appeared, they have become a little bit less used. No, they're by no means a bad army. However, there are just better options that outclass it. Another strategy that belongs in the B tier is the Yeti Witch. The Yeti Witch is a crowd favorite, and a lot of people really enjoy using this attack. It has 2 different versions, which makes it incredibly strong, whether you want to use Octoquake or bat spells, but for the most part, you want to just make sure that you're keeping most of your Yetis and most of your witches alive throughout the whole attack. Also within the B tier is the Super Witch Smash. Super Witches are yet another fantastic strategy. There are some things that hold it back from being any higher, especially since it has a slow movement speed and very much needing value from both either the lightning or from the fireball. For the most part, these are 2 great versions that you can run with Super Witches to make them very strong. Another strategy that hangs around B tier is the Zap Witches. The Zap Witch is a very strong option, and while it really is only good at Town Hall 11, 12, and a little bit at Town Hall 15, it's still a very solid option considering as long as you have tankage for your witches, this attack rarely fails. And of course, a really strong option that's in the B tier is the Super Archer Blimp Hydra. The Super Archer Blimp Hydra is a very strong option regardless if you use Dragon Riders with it or all dragons. But the one thing that definitely holds this back from being a lot higher is the fact that this can be defended. If someone is smart enough, they can actually prevent this from happening. While this is a great army that works really well on a lot of casual bases, it's not going to work all the time. Next up is the A tier, and these armies are extremely flexible regardless of the base, starting with the Twin Hogs. The Twin Hogs attack is a very strong option. It is incredibly flexible, especially with siege machines and the different bases that you can run. It really got better ever since they added hero equipment. Also within the A tier is the Super Barch. The Super Barch is still a fantastic strategy to run. For the most part, you really want to make sure that you're getting great value with the Super Archer blimp. Even after the Super Archer nerf, it shouldn't change as many interactions. You just need to be careful of landing in areas where there could be a giant bomb and a couple small bombs. The other thing that you should try to consider though is pairing this with Root Riders at Town Hall 15 and 16. Only using 3 to 4 of them is all that you need to actually move through the base with your heroes without needing wall breakers. Another army within the A tier is the Skelly Donut Lalo. The Skelly Donut Lalo is one of the better attack strategies currently, especially since it's incredibly flexible and really strong. A lot of people have clan castles by value that you can very easily take advantage of and get huge value from the Skelly Donut. Another great strategy in the A tier is the Blizzard Lavaloon. The Blizzard Lalo is still a fantastic attack. It's incredibly flexible regardless of your town hall level, but the main thing that definitely pulls it back is it not being nearly as prevalent at Town Hall 15 and 16 due to the fact that you have a lot more splash damage with giant bombs being a lot stronger, bomb towers being able to one-shot, and of course the poison spell towers. The Queen Charge Hybrid is also going within the A tier. The Queen Charge Hybrid is a very powerful army and is incredibly flexible. You can really never go wrong with an attack like that. It does have a peak and it does slowly start to slow down as you go higher at Town Hall levels, but it's still a very solid option nonetheless, since it's one of the few attacks that has the exact same steps for every Town Hall level. The Zap Lalo is also making its way up into the A tier. The Zap Lavaloon is a very powerful attack, and right now, with a lot of bases trying to defend Root Riders and a lot more compact designs, the Zap Lalo is reigning supreme, not just at Town Hall 16, but pretty much everywhere in the game. This is a very solid option, and I would recommend trying this one out, considering it's one of the best Lavaloon attacks you can run right now. Now we move into the S tier. These are basically the best of the best that you can run on any base right now, starting with Electro Dragons. Electro Dragons have gotten so much better. They went from being one of the most average troops to pretty much one of the best, not only having overgrowth to help support them, but they also are just getting better with how bases are being designed, especially with them being a bit more compact. Electro Dragons with proper spam and proper spell usage can very easily 3-star and be a very menacing attack. Also within the S tier is the Super Bowler Smash. Out of all the Smash attacks right now, Super Bowlers are currently the best, mostly because they just do a ton of damage under Rage, regardless if you're running the Warden Walk or the Recall Queen Charge before you send in the Super Bowlers. Either way, you're able to use one of the strongest attacks currently in the game that can hit pretty much any base. Another strategy that is within the S tier is the Zap Root Riders. Zap Root Riders pretty much just can overtake a lot of designs. Not only is the Zap Quake just really strong right now, but Root Riders themselves are also very good and just boast a ton of utility, making them still an incredibly powerful option to pair with Zap Quake. Also within the S tier is the Queen Charge Lalo. The Queen Charge Lalo is a beauty of a strategy. There is a lot to talk about with it, but to keep it short and simple, it's one of the best attacks that you can use on any base, regardless of your town hall level. It is one of, if not the best attacks to run. If you're looking for the best Lavaloon attack to run, I would heavily recommend that you learn and practice and try to master the Queen Charge Lalo. Of course, the Queen Charge Root Rider attack is making its way up into the S tier. Now, Queen Charge Root Riders is a very powerful attack. It's a really solid option, being able to completely decimate bases. As long as you get some great funneling in, realistically, the Root Riders are just going to be able to go to pound against the rest of the defenses. What makes it really nice is that these are like having Hog Riders, but for the most part, you have a lot more HP and you're doing a lot more damage. And of course, one of the best attacks right now that you can run is without a doubt the Root Rider spam in the S tier. And of course, Root Rider spam still works even with 1, 2, or even 3 overgrowth spells. They tried to nerf this attack, but it's still too dang strong. It is a very powerful attack and realistically one of the very few that you really should be using no matter what. So here is the entire tier list. Be sure to get a screenshot of it, and if you're looking for more tier list content, I'd recommend checking out my ranking for every single hero equipment after the newest epic, the Fireball, was released.